Equipment wiring operation. First, we need to connect our air source. The trachea in the accessory bag will be used. Take out it is the nitrogen emptying machine to the appropriate position of the instrument. Then we compare the length. Cut the appropriate length with scissors. Then we get from the accessory bag. Pick out the right accessories. There's a steel pipe, a sealing plug, and a stud. Combined. After we install the trachea connector, one end is connected to the hydrogen interface of the nitrogen emptying machine. Tighten by hand first, then tighten it with a movable wrench. The other end is connected to the hydrogen interface, corresponding to the 9803 instrument. Then tighten it with a movable wrench. Same thing, put one end of the trachea connected to the nitrogen interface of the nitrogen emptying machine. Then tighten it with a movable wrench. The other end is connected to the carrier gas interface of the 9803 instrument. Tighten with a movable wrench. Same thing, put one end of the trachea connected to the air interface of the nitrogen emptying machine. Then tighten it with a movable wrench. The other end is connected to the 9803 instrument air interface. Tighten with a movable wrench. After we connect the gas, take out the network cable from the accessory bag. One end is plugged into the network cable interface of the 9803 instrument. The other end is connected to the network cable interface of the computer. That's it. Connect the instrument power cord to the power socket. Next, we explain the installation of the chromatic collar. We flip the switch. Open this. And then, we took out the column fitting. We found the graphene connector from the accessory bag and threaded fitting. Thread into the threaded joint first, then penetrate into the graphene joint. Leave 2 to 3 centimeters in length. Then we take a blade and cut off the top of the connector. Then break. The remaining length is 2 to 3 cm. And do the same thing at the other end of the column. Thread into the threaded joint first, then penetrate into the graphene joint. Cut off the head the same way. Break it off again. Then hang the column on it. As deep as possible. Insert the column into the oxygen preventer outlet connector. Use the nut by hand first. Tighten with the outlet connector of the oxygen inhibitor. Then tighten the seal with a wrench. Same operation here. First, tighten it by hand. Then tighten the seal with a wrench. After the chromatographic column is installed, close the door. Explanation of the wiring of the Autosampler. Install the nuts and gaskets on the steel pipe in sequence. Install nuts and gaskets on the other end of the steel pipe in the same way. Connect one end of the steel pipe to the EPC inlet port. First, tighten it by hand, then use a wrench to tighten it further. Connect the other end of the steel pipe to this interface of the chromatograph. First, tighten it by hand, and then use a wrench to tighten it more firmly. First, tighten it by hand, and then use a wrench to tighten it more firmly. Similarly, put nuts and gaskets into the gas pipe joint. Connect the other end of the nitrogen gas pipe to the purge inlet of the instrument. Tighten it. Connect the communication cable. Connect it to this start-out port. Connect the red, colored wire to the red port, and the blue, colored wire to the black port. Connect the other ends of these two wires to the start port of the chromatograph. Place the fixture on the chromatograph. Then, pass the sampling needle of the Autosampler through the fixture and insert it into the injection port. Power on by pressing the power buttons of these two instruments. This is the software interface of the chromatograph. Click on the injector. Click heat on. Click detector. Click heat on. After the injector temperature and detector temperature reach above 100 degrees Celsius, then click column oven and heat on. First, set the column oven temperature to 80 degrees Celsius. Set the valve temperature to 105 degrees Celsius. Set the injection tube temperature to 110 degrees Celsius. Here are the position numbers for placing the bottles. There are 40 serial numbers on the upper turntable. Here we set it as 0.1. Production standard pressure. How many kinds of standards do we need to configure? How many kinds of analysis do we use? He'll solve unequal proportion mixing. For example, we prepare methanol, ethanol, isopropyl alcohol, ethyl acetate etc. Then each of us, it's a disposable syringe. Extraction isoscale mixing. Extract d milliliter. Put it into the sealed bottle. A milliliter of each. Then shake well to mix. After configuration, we analyze pure standard sample solutions in equal proportions, such as methanol, ethanol, ethyl propanol, ethyl acetate, and propanol-butanol, butyl-toluamine ester. Solution standard solution. This is a mixed standard sample. Put that aside. This is an empty bottle. Seal it well. Then press down with crimp pliers. Remove a milliliter of the microsampler. We insert it into the standard sample. Smoke once. Then get rid of it. And then a second time. Draw a micro, then insert it into the new empty bottle. Insert into an empty bottle, and rotate along the bottle wall. Then push. Stick the container to the wall of the bottle, and circle it. Unplug. Put the standard sample in position null 1. Click Run. The instrument will automatically inject samples. Set the baking time to 30 minutes here. Set the collection time to 25 minutes. Now start the 30-minute baking timer. Wait until the timer ends. The software will automatically start collecting. Wait for the peaks to appear. After the standard sample chromatogram is completed, conduct the sample chromatogram. Set the column oven temperature first. Set it to 80 degrees Celsius. And set the valve temperature to 105 degrees Celsius. This is to set the injection tube temperature to 110 degrees Celsius. Set the position number for placing the bottle as null 21. Set the baking time to 30 minutes. Set the collection time to 25 minutes. Sample testing is possible. We first cut the sample into a size of 10 centimeters. Then put the fragments into an appropriate amount of glass bottle. After the sample is packed in, put the rubber stopper on, press the cap, then cut it into pieces. In the oven, put the sample in position No. 21. Click Run. The instrument will automatically inject the sample. Then start the timer. The baking time is 30 minutes. Wait until the baking is finished. Then make a standard file to compare. First, open the standard sample file. For example, this is the mist solvent with 7 peaks. And I choose the area, mean the minimum area, at 10 confirm. And go to the quantity method. And the automatic peak finding. So that you can input the component names for example. The first you can identify the first component is ethanol. And for example, the second peak. And you can identify the second peak as methanol. And the others also. You can identify EPA or something just for example. And then calculate the contents. Have an equation to calculate contents. Maybe I can calculate for you, for example. 9 point. And just for example. 8 point. And 9.6. Input the component names. And calculate the contents of each component. And then clear archive. And current table archive. Save and confirm. And then working curve. Correction. And OK confirm. And then save current window method save. As a template for example. An injectizer. Five. And save OK now. We save. Open the sample file. This is a sample file. And then you can click here download the standard method. So that you can see ethanol, methanol. And choose here automatic. Finding and quantitative. Calculation, and then you can analyze the result report. You can see the standard name, the component names, ethanol, methanol, EPA, and the contents of your sample for comparison.